$18.97. That's how low Intel fell. The company that ran almost every computer on Earth for 40 years. The lowest in over a decade. The market buried the king. And today, that same stock is up 217%. So which is it? A dead king or the greatest comeback in tech history? This is how you lose a 40-year monopoly. By the end, how one post added $200 billion to a company everyone called dead, and why that's the dangerous part. 1968. Robert Noyce and Gordon Moore start Intel. 10 years later, one chip changes everything, the 8086. That chip became x86, the language every PC had to speak. Microsoft built Windows on top. Two companies, locked together, ruling how the world computed. Wintel. Want a PC? You needed Intel. No alternative, a toll booth on the whole industry. In 1991, they put their name on the box. Intel Inside. A brand you couldn't escape. By 2013, Intel owned roughly 90% of the x86 market, the largest chipmaker on the planet. Number one, untouchable. At its peak in 2000, Intel was worth over $500 billion, the most valuable chip company ever built. Nobody questioned the king. But when you own everything, you stop fearing anything. Intel got comfortable, and comfort at the top is the most expensive thing money can buy. Then Steve Jobs walked in. Early 2000s. Apple comes to Intel for a chip for a new phone, the iPhone. The price Apple wanted was below what Intel thought it would cost to build. So Intel said no. CEO Paul Otellini admitted it himself. His words, "In hindsight, the forecasted cost was wrong, and the volume was 100 times what anyone thought." 100 times. The biggest chipmaker on Earth turned down the best-selling device ever made over a few cents. They didn't lose the iPhone, they handed it back. Miss one. 2009. Intel cancels its own graphics chip, Larrabee, before it ever ships. Too complex, too late. The engineers wanted to fight. Management killed it. One company kept building graphics chips while Intel walked away, NVIDIA. A decade later, those chips became the brain of artificial intelligence, an empire Intel had in hand. Miss two. But the deepest wound was the factories. For 50 years, nobody made chips smaller, faster, better. Intel didn't just design them, it built them. That was the moat, the empire. Then they got stuck. Their 10-nanometer chip ran years late, delay after delay. The machine that never missed started missing, and a quiet rival in Taiwan made its move. TSMC builds for everyone, competes with no one. In 2017, it sprinted past Intel and took the lead it held for 50 years. For the first time in 50 years, Intel lost the crown. AMD took share too. Miss number three. The pattern. Every miss came from the top. Leadership made it blind. iPhone, GPUs, its factories. 3 times the king looked away. Now remember that number, $18.97, because the bill was about to come due, all at once. 2024. The bill came due. Intel's stock fell 60%, the worst year in its 53-year history as a public company. In a single day that August, the stock cratered, about $25 billion, gone. One of the worst days for any chip stock in Wall Street history. By year-end, Intel was worth under $100 billion, first time since 2000. It once topped $500 billion. Then a $16.6 billion loss in one quarter. Around 16,500 jobs, gone. The dividend investors trusted for decades, frozen. A company that once printed money, cutting to the bone to survive. December 2024, the CEO brought in to save the company, Pat Gelsinger, was pushed out. Officially, retirement. Really? The board had run out of patience. No CEO, no process lead, no dividend, no floor. That's when the stock hit $18.97, lowest in over a decade. Then Washington called. August 2025. The U.S. government takes a 10% stake in Intel, $8.9 billion. The state becomes its biggest shareholder. In a free market, that almost never happens. Trump said, "Give us 10%. Weeks later, September, the twist nobody saw coming. NVIDIA, the rival that buried Intel in AI, invests $5 billion in it. The hunter throws the king a lifeline, and the factories started moving. June 2026, Intel's new process, 18AP, entered risk production. The test phase, not full manufacturing. But Intel was finally building toward the front again. June 18, 2026, Trump posts that Apple will build chips with Intel in America. The stock jumps over 10% in a day. All-time high, 135.48. And that's where it gets dangerous. Neither Apple nor Intel ever confirmed it. The only voice saying it was done, Trump's. The Wall Street Journal called it preliminary, likely low-end only. Meanwhile, TSMC still makes over 90% of the world's most advanced chips. Every flagship, including the iPhone 17, is built there, not by Intel. What Intel lost, it hasn't won back. And Wall Street is split. One analyst, days after the high, "This stock will plummet in late 2026. Target, $102, a 23% fall." Here's the uncomfortable math. The entire rally rides on one post and a deal that's mostly a rumor. $200 billion on a sentence neither company will repeat. So the real question isn't whether Intel came back. It's this. Is this a real turnaround or a bailout buying time? Here's the lesson. Intel didn't lose to a smarter rival. It lost the iPhone. It lost GPUs. It lost its factories. And it lost them all while sitting at the very top. Monopolies don't die from competition. They die from comfort. The rival at the gate doesn't kill the king. The throne does. The moment you stop being afraid, the fall begins. Intel forgot how to be afraid. It took a 60% collapse, a government, and a rival's check to remind it. Whether that's enough, Wall Street can't agree yet. This is analysis, not financial advice. The next empire is Intel's opposite. It owns nothing, no factories, no moat. Yet it runs the world on an $80 billion gamble. That's OpenAI. Next, subscribe.